This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
For now.
Hey everybody, happy June. Hey everybody, happy June. Hey everybody, happy June.
Oh, man. I put Andrew Luck on a loop. Good morning. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted them to play on top of each other. The rest of the intro and Happy June from Andrew Luck. All right. Well, that was an awkward start, but that's okay. Good morning. This is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. We're hanging out with you back live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. Appreciate Mason Woods holding it down last week as we jumped out of town for a day or so. We are going to have a fun day. It's raining again in Tuscaloosa. Oh, my God. Have you built your Noah's Ark? It is raining like crazy in the southeast. So hope you are staying dry. Welcome into the Joe Gaither Show. Hope you're ready for a fun Monday, a fun week. We are 83 days away from Alabama kickoff, and we started our early opponent preview on BamaCentral.com. Will Miller putting out the first one. Alabama taking on Florida State in 83 days. So we encourage you to start your day by reading Will Miller's piece, getting ready, getting familiar with the Florida State Seminoles. We're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, ready to have a fun day. We want you to call Derek for all your insurance needs, 205-758-3391. You can call him today. Red and Reese and Victoria are upstairs. They would love to take your phone call, run you through a quick auto insurance quote, talk about your policies, and see if they can save you some money and get you better local coverage. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. We're here with our man, Theo Fernandez. Theo has been under one anxiety attack and one mini celebration already. The Thunder are 1-1. You follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. You probably saw him anchoring the sports on WVUA 23 this past weekend. Check him out 2 weekends, every other weekend on WVUA 23 and writing for BamaCentral.com. What's going on, Theo? How are you? How was your weekend? We got a lot to get into. Oh, before you answer that, I need to set up kind of what we're doing. We got a lot to get into. We're going to dive into, start picking through this House versus NCAA. Is it good for college athletics? Is it good for Alabama? Greg Burns seems to be behind it, and if Greg Burns behind it, we're behind it. Maybe. We'll talk about all that today. We'll get into maybe some other. I have one recruiting note or topic that I want to talk about, and it's not a specific Alabama player. I want to talk about the Auburn Tigers and their weekend, what they were doing. So those two things will probably carry our day. And then, of course, I want to get Theo's update on the NBA Finals because I got text messages last week. Oh, you're talking finals? You talking NBA? And I said, no, Theo is. And so I want to throw that back at him and let him know let the people know what happened in the first two games. I did see the one shot, the Taliban coming down there and dropping it from 19 feet to win the game. But did not see a second of game two. So I'm at 30 seconds so far of my NBA Finals watching. We need Theo to give us that picture. That's what we're going to do today. You can call us on the voicemail line like my friend Dax at 205-758-3391. No, that's Derek Daniels' number. No, you can call us at 205-462-7340, extension 800. I got like 4 or 5 phone numbers, just second nature in my head.
What do you think Derek Daniel does if he gets like a Joe Gaither Show call request?
I think he just turns it into an auto insurance quote. Hey, man, what kind of car are you driving? 2007 Saturn Vue. You need to upgrade that car, but we can run you an auto insurance quote for $50 a month because your car's a piece of junk. Right. I think he just turns it into a quick quote. He's like, I'll tell Joe your message. So you can leave us a voicemail. Dax has us a voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can leave us a comment, question, query, or complaint. We love the complaints the most. At Joe Gaither 6, at Theo Fernandez _, and at Bama Central. So with that, Theo, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic after last night. First of all, meant to ask you pre-show, is Taliban acceptable for this show? And you obviously answered that question because, look.
I mean, there's a line, but I think that's on the right side of the line.
I think it's a very fun nickname, and he is. Look, if it was any team besides the Thunder in these NBA Finals, I would absolutely be rooting for Indiana. They play an incredible brand of basketball. Halliburton is everything that an NBA superstar should be, because I think that's the level he's about to ascend to. I mean, the guy steps up in every huge moment. He is the moment. That's the nickname ESPN is trying to push for him. Obviously, we have the
A little
other
more
one.
PC.
We have the other one that we like a little more, but man, he is unreal. And I watched that shot go down, and I'm not even surprised.
Was your stomach just, oh?
Like, as soon as he released it, I just have that thought of there's no way this isn't going in. And sure enough, that thing drops. We are witnessing, I don't like using the word generational at all. This is truly generational. We've quite literally never seen a player make more than 2 go-ahead shots like this in one playoff run. He already hits 3. It's special. Or
I think he's at 4.
It's 4, yeah. He has 1 in every single round.
Yeah, he's got 1 with the Knicks, 1 with the Cavs.
And then he made 1 against the Bucks round 1.
And then Thunder, yeah.
Thunder, yeah. Now he's done it every single round, and it's been majestic to watch. OKC is way too good of a team. I don't think Indy's getting another game, honestly, but hats off to the Pacers because they deserve all the attention they've got, and they deserve all the praise they've got. And this is a really special run for, you got to remember, a town that is obsessed with basketball. Like Indiana. I don't know if there's a single state in the country that loves basketball like they do. So this is incredible to see for that whole state, for that city. But, OKC, it should be smooth sailing from here.
Smooth. Y'all are going 2 games back to Indiana, right?
I feel look.
Is it 2 or is it 3?
It's 2 over in Indiana.
Yeah, that's the way it needs to be. 2-2, 1-1-1-1. You taking both of them?
I believe so.
Okay, is that Thunder fan Theo Fernandez? I believe so, or I'm looking at the basketball because you're gonna have another adjustment. You get the Thunder who adjusted to 2 bigs kind of in the second game. I was reading some thoughts. I didn't watch, but I was reading some thoughts. You're gonna get another adjustment by Indiana, and if Halliburton is who you are saying he is, he ain't gonna go down just all willy nilly.
The problem is I don't think Indiana has any adjustments left to make. Unfortunately, like OKC runs so deep. OKC can counter anything the Pacers do. And at the end of the day, I would be shocked if Indiana's able to pull off anything that can surprise the Thunder. Now, Rick Carlisle, incredible coach. He's one of the guys that if anyone can do it, it's him.
And this is Adam Silver's NBA. We're going to 7 games, bro.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. They'll make a call. They'll send something in. But look, the Thunder it is for all intents and purposes a super team. And there's like this narrative online, and Thunder fans don't like referring to themselves as a super team because the argument is, we're all homegrown. Which yes, is a homegrown roster for the most part, but like, the collection of talent is absurd. When you have the MVP, who has the most points in his first 2 games of NBA Finals in his career of any player ever, and then you have 2 All-NBA level players in Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, and then you have Caruso coming off the bench scoring 20, and you have Aaron Wiggins coming out and straining everything, and Lou Dort locking down Halliburton. Like, it just goes so deep, and Hartenstein's unreal on the glass. I don't think he needs to get another game.
All right, well, I'll go against you and say we are going to see 2-2 after these 2 games in Indy.
I mean, I'd like it. I would like a fun NBA Finals. Obviously, I want to see my team lift that ring up or lift that trophy up. But this is the last basketball I'm going to get to watch for about 4 months. So,
Summer League's coming. We're gonna get to watch Mark and Grant in Summer League, bro.
We will. That's actually a very good point, because this is the most rooting interest I'll have in a Summer League probably ever.
Mark and Grant in Summer League. Will Shackelford find him? Will Jaden Shackelford find it? Does he play on Summer League teams? Probably not.
Tyra Lewis might get another shot.
Yeah. So it'll be fun. We'll see a lot of our fringe Alabama players play. Was that 5 games or so? 4 games in Summer League?
Yeah, just about. I didn't even think of that.
And then by that time, it's preseason. It's Alabama. Preseason. Maybe we'll sneak into Coleman Coliseum and see him play. See him play for see him have a little open run. Apparently, I didn't realize this, but during Alabama basketball camps, they're running team camps, or they were running team camps last week. the Crimson Tide team, gets out there and does a little open run, I may sneak over there and see if they're still running some camps just so I can watch Taylor Bobo and get my eyes on him, get my eyes on Jaleel Bethea. What I was seeing over the weekend was Jaleel Bethea, buy stock now. And I just want to say I have already bought my stock before that tweet.
You're invested.
I bought my stock as soon as Coach Oates was talking, oh, this was a lottery pick that just didn't have a great season last year. And you pull up the highlights and you see him just playing 1-on-5 with Miami. Mm-hmm. So I might be trying to sneak into Coleman Coliseum during some of these basketball camps to check out the Crimson Tide. But yeah, I have already bought as much stock as I can afford in Jaleel Bethea.
You know, my brother, he's 16, playing high school basketball down in Panama, and he's trying to get to one of those elite Alabama basketball camps. And it's I'm about to be editing together, highlights for him, trying to get him recruited somewhere because the kid's a stud.
Is it good?
Oh yeah, now
is it tall? Can he shoot?
He's 6'4" right now, still growing. Which I cannot state enough how much it sucks being shorter as the younger brother already. And just knowing, I've always been able to hold my own when we play one-on-ones, and I just know that when I see him over the summer, it's going to be a bloodbath out there on the court. But now he's good. He's looking into playing somewhere D1, and it's hard to get recruited internationally.
What year is he?
He's gonna be going into junior year.
Okay, so he's still got 2 years.
Oh yeah.
All right, great. And 6'4" going into junior year, get you some exposure. You never know what'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's just knowing the numbers and knowing he's gonna need to grow.
Is he playing post or is he trying to play guard?
Well, that's the problem with the coaching down there is far from ideal.
Right. If you're 6'4", you're playing the post.
Yeah, right.
That's how it was in my high school. Our tallest guy was 6'4", 6'5". That's our center. And it's you probably should be trying to hone your guard skills, buddy.
Yeah, and it's funny. Football is the sport that he had a better shot at. He was on the Panamanian national team for football, and they just basically forced him to play offensive lineman. They said, because he's got perfect tight end build, great hands, and they basically told him now, if you want to be on this team, you're going to be a lineman. You're the biggest guy we've got. So if you want your kid to go play college sports somewhere, I recommend that you stay in the United States of America. For any parents out there, it does not go very well internationally sometimes, but everyone has having fun over there.
All right. Well, good luck to Fernandez Jr. What's his name?
Peter.
All right, Peter, we're pulling for you. Peter is our new pet project. Get Peter a scholarship.
And I'm hoping some coach somewhere is listening to this. I can send you all the tape.
Kennesaw State, Georgia Southern. We can get you with Charlie Henry. We can get you with Antoine Petway. Come on, that seems not too crazy.
I'd agree.
Too crazy of a level.
It's the kind of landing spot he'd be looking for.
There we go. Georgia Southern, not too far away. 6'4", just ask him if he's got a blue collar, if he wants to wear a hard hat, because the same rules apply for Charlie Henry and for Antoine Petway.
Yeah, I don't know if they believe in that blue collar stuff down there.
Well, they try to.
I hope so. Or I'm talking about down in Panama. I don't know if they're, from what I hear, the kids are kind of lazy sometimes.
No, come on, Peter. We got to get your nose to the grindstone.
I can beat him up a little when he comes up.
There you go. Maybe he can shoot better than you, but you can stick that elbow right in his back and teach him a lesson.
Remind him about good old-fashioned American word.
Exactly. All right, so Theo, what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about we're going to talk legalese for most of this. Have you been reading any of this stuff? I'm sure you've been spending your whole weekend poring over these documents right there as college athletics has changed. Judge, what is that? Claudia Wilkin? Is that my name? Let's see.
That is the name.
I did write it. Goodness gracious. Yeah, Claudia Wilkin. Yeah, exactly. Just want to make sure I got her name correct, her honor correct. Judge Claudia Wilkin approves the House versus NCAA settlement at what? 8:45 on Friday night. I'm headed to dinner, and I'm seeing it come across I'm in the Uber headed to dinner. I'm like, well, can't get that right now. Can't do anything about that. But she approves the settlement that we all knew was coming, and really, I think it was supposed to be approved on June 1 or May 31st, by June 1. Did go a couple days past that, but they got it done before the new academic athletic calendar year, which is important because to me, the biggest thing is scholarship limits, particularly as it pertains to walk-ons and what we're going to do for these current guys. But let's just talk about reaction. All right. Overarching themes of the settlement are colleges can now pay players directly out of revenue sharing. And I think the limit is what, $20.5 million revenue sharing. And Greg Byrne, at least for our intents and purposes, has said that Alabama will be fully funding what they can do, fully funding the settlement. Fully funding their end, the $20.5 million. Now, how that $20.5 million is dispersed is going to be up to all the athletic departments. Are we going to put all $20.5 million into football? Are you going to put it all into basketball? Are you going to spread out the wealth and, everybody gets a trophy? Here's $5 for everybody. It's going to be up to the athletic departments. And so you're going to start to see some inequity based off of how these athletic departments choose to spend this money. Are you going to spend it all on football? Yes or no? Are you going to say, oh, everybody gets a cut? That's going to be your first distinction here. The other part that I find interesting is the scholarship limits. I think if football has gone up to 105, baseball's up to 34, 35. I think basketball has gone up to 15. But you're not going to have schools, you're going to fund the scholarships at 20 million or whatnot. But you're not going to see. I don't see Alabama going to 34 baseball scholarships. I see Alabama bumping up to maybe 25, 6, 7 baseball scholarships. It's going to be very interesting to see how these athletic departments decide to use this money. And I guess we're talking it out right here, Theo, because I haven't quite decided my thoughts on this. The other big aspect to this is the way that we're doing NIL. Everything over $600, I pay Theo Fernandez $600 to go on the Joe Gaither show and read, our ad for the show. Everything over, if I'm paying him $601, he's got to file this deal with Deloitte, this clearinghouse, NIL Go, and they're going to determine if Theo Fernandez is worth $601, if the ad read on the Joe Gaither show is worth $601, and that's going to become quite an issue, in my opinion. You're going to have people talking antitrust, and it's going to continue down the line. But you do have an enforcement, basically, entity now. You do have a landing zone for, hey, Billy Smith is not worth $100,000 to do one ad read for Tony's Tires, right? They're going to probably reject that. Now, if Billy Smith is a Heisman Trophy winner and is not Tony's Tires, but it is Buick or Nissan or Mercedes, and we're going to put him on a national commercial, maybe he is worth that $100,000. It's going to be interesting to see how they delineate. Basically, everything going from June 1 on has to get filed with NIL Go. And I think NIL Go, I saw is going to actually get started on July 10, 11 is when that actually is going to get fired up. But everything's got to be backdated, so they're going to already have a month's worth of deals to be sifting through before the upcoming season. And so there's several complications here, Theo. But these are the big, key points from the Joe Gaither's perspective. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with how teams are going to fund, how teams are going to use that $20.5 million? Do you want to start with how teams are going to do, use the scholarship limit? Or do you want to start with NIL Go? Dealer's choice. Ready, go.
I would like to start with what I think is the clear, glaring biggest issue here, which is the NIL Go.
Go for it.
I just personally, politically, whatever, I tend to lean very fiscally libertarian in the sense that I believe in an open market.
Same page. We're on the same page. Keep going.
Who is this committee to determine what someone is worth? That's the part that I find baffling. Texas Tech.
Oh, perfect example. We're already the same thing. Go.
This girl, Kennedy, if you haven't seen the stuff that she does, incredible.
Of course it was worth $1 million.
And yeah, she signed a 7-figure NIL deal, which, first of all, I think this is an analogy. This is an example that I'm going to come back to later on because I think it applies for many things here. But in this sense, is that worth $1 million? I look at it and I see a pitcher who absolutely dominated through every pitch of the World Series. One of the greatest seasons of all time. And I look at that and I say, you know what? Single-handedly carried a team who never even been to Oklahoma City to the World Series. I'm like, yeah, you know what? If I don't see why a school shouldn't be willing to pay her that. If Texas Tech decides, yeah, we want to keep this incredible athlete, the best softball player we've ever had, make sure she comes back for another year. After this incredible performance, we're going to pay her. Is this committee going to step in and say, no, based on the deals that other softball players have got, you can't pay her more than $500,000? I don't know. And then on another note, like on a more general note, something that's going to come into play much more. If you are, I don't know, what's an Alabama example we can use? Jalen Hale or Cole Adams, right? And that spring portal opened this year, and you decided, you know what? I'm tired of, my place in the depth chart. I want to go be a wide receiver 2 somewhere. And you take a lot of money to go to some other lower level Power 4 school and play, and they see you as, oh, look at this Alabama athlete, this incredible recruit, incredibly athletic guy. You're worth a lot to us. How do you determine, like, okay, this guy, he never is produced really. He's going to be like a wide receiver 5 at Alabama, but they're willing to pay him like a wide receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
How do you judge that?
Mm-hmm.
How is this not going to cause a million problems every year? And then look at any free agency cycle from any pro sports league, right?
The Bears are always overpaying.
That's what you do. You pay.
Please come play for us.
You pay A+ money for B+ players.
Yes.
So, like, I just don't get it. Like, are we turning this into professional sports? Are we regular? Like, I almost wish they'd just pick a side here.
You got a third aspect here. Or you already had 3. You got a fourth aspect here.
What's that?
Brother, what were we doing up until, when was it, 2019, 2020?
Yeah.
What was college athletics until 2019? $100 handshake here, $100 handshake there, little, and look, not against that. I'm not against that. But we went from everything out in the open and, this is bad, to, we're going to regulate it. What's going to happen when things get regulated and things we don't like? This deal got X-nayed, this deal got shoved off the table. Oh, well, that's okay. We'll just do it the old way. We'll just call Jeremy Pruitt and find some McDonald's bags and make it happen. We'll do the Cam Newton style. $180,000 for Cam is a steal for a national championship. Sorry, Alabama fans, the greatest single season of all time in college athletics. To me. All right, you can throw Joe Burrow right there, but Cam Newton playing with a bunch of farm boys who never went to the NFL. Just absolutely an absurd season. Absolutely worth $180K. And how many months did Paul Feinbaum get the "who is the bag man" conversation? Oh my gosh, that was a whole year of his entire radio program. And credit to you, brother, but like everybody knew there was something nefarious. Oh, did Cam Newton's father get paid through his church? Was it a donation to the church? Was it of course, we're tithing and offering to the church, which is great. Good on that. But like, are we using the church to get Cam Newton from? Like, it's just going to go back under the table.
Mm-hmm. And 2 other notes here. First of all, my theory, and this is just pure speculation, is that there are going to be a lot of shell corporations created that are going to give guys a ton of $500 NIL deals.
Yes.
That's the first one.
$5.99.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to happen. It's like how when you withdraw like $8,000 from the bank, like it's under the threshold, you know? The second note, there's going to be a lawsuit just about every time a deal's rejected. I mean, you look at, like, if I'm an athlete and they're going to go and tell me, oh, you're not worth this much, I'm taking it to court. Like, I don't see how this isn't going to happen. You know, already look at how many college athletes are involved in lawsuits right now, currently, about eligibility, about, like, why did Diego Pavia, you know, take all this action to ensure that he could stay, to make more money, because he recognizes what is going to happen in this NIL world. Everyone does. And if I'm an athlete and this outside committee is going to step up and tell me, no, you can't take that deal. We don't think you're worth enough money to get paid that much. I'd be up in arms. I wouldn't be. You think anyone's just going to sit by idly and just let that happen? I don't see how this whole NIL Go thing is going to last. I like a lot of what happened in this. I just can't get behind this part of it at all.
Yeah, this is from the Athletics reporting from over the weekend. The settlement establishes a clearinghouse dubbed NIL Go and managed by the accounting firm Deloitte, which instructs athletes, this is so stupid, to self-report any third-party NIL deals worth $600 or more for review. The idea is that those deals that fail to meet a valid business purpose and or fall within an approved range will be flagged and must be adjusted or taken to arbitration. From the perspective of the NCAA and Power Conference leadership, this new enforcement is meant to bring competitive balance and transparency to a NIL marketplace. But among those who have witnessed the NCAA's inability to police and that marketplace in the past, there's a lot of skepticism that the settlement will change things. Quote, it sounds great in theory, but how will it actually work? Asked one Power Conference athletic director. Industry sources familiar with the clearinghouse and enforcement plan insist it will have a more and swifter latitude and punitive power than the NCAA wielded in the NIL era. Until it actually drops that hammer, it's done little to scare off coaches and recruiting staffs with passionate and deep-pocketed donors. A couple more paragraphs and we'll get back to it. A number of sources question whether athletes will even report their third-party deals or do so accurately. Others suggested that deals getting challenged by the clearinghouse or the fact that they have to be disclosed at all could spark more antitrust legal action from collectives. Other sources were downright dismissive. Quote, if you tell a booster or business owner they can't give a star player $2 million, there will be lawsuits, said the personnel director. Continued, there is no enforcing this. Fair market value, bleep Deloitte is the quote here. This is going to get even crazier. Continuing, the law enforcement arm with a legit enforcement arm with some teeth, perhaps in the form of suspensions or ineligibility, might change that sentiment. And multiple athletic directors suggest that if the clearinghouse merely serves as a minor deterrent to egregious pay-for-play payments, it will be better than the pre-settlement circumstances. But others think the undertow of NIL and collectives is too strong to turn back now. Last quote, there are a lot of rich people that can't buy a professional sports franchise, but they can give a ton of money to their alma mater. And if you're telling that millionaires and billionaires what they can and can't do with your money, you're probably going to lose that battle.
I couldn't agree more with that. And that sums up, I think, a lot of what I was trying to get across, because this just doesn't really seem like it's going to work at all to me. And first of all, for once, I think the NCAA is kind of done something okay, because
it's an effort. It's an effort.
We all know
credit the effort. Continues.
So unsustainable what was happening. We all know something had to happen, and I hope, and I do think that this might be the first step towards finding whatever that real solution is.
Sure,
this is not the solution. I don't think anyone's gonna agree that it's the solution.
I agree. I'm with you there. I'm very concerned about the NIL Go aspect. Now, I think that what you're going to end up doing, what you're going to end up seeing is like how here's the deal. How do you of course, remember Bryce Young had a Mercedes contract. Was it Mercedes? What was his national car brand? He had a big time car. Was it Buick? I'm not quite. He's looking it up. But Bryce Young, after when he got that Heisman, ended up getting himself a pretty big
BMW.
Thank you.
Which actually makes sense,
right? Yeah. Well, and so he had a big old deal, and like of course, whatever that number was, you can pretty much say is worth it because he's on the commercials and the national brand big time, right? Bryce Young, what I was told when he was here, when I was told when he was here, which take it with a small grain of salt, but I was told this from multiple people, that my man's was charging $9,000 for an Instagram post. Yeah. 9,000. Do you remember when he had the Fortnite post or two?
I do.
I'm in the dorm playing Fortnite, and it was like 2 pictures, and it was 2 pictures and a caption. I was told that he made 18 grand for that. Now, Fortnite, national, everybody, all your kids are playing Fortnite. I mean, if you haven't heard of Fortnite, you're living under a rock. All your children that play video games are playing Fortnite, and it's a fine game, good game, pretty relatively wholesome in my opinion. And I stink at it because I stink at third-person shooters, at first-person shooters. I'm like, who's shooting me in the back? I'm much more. I like a story mode game where I know where the computer people are. I don't like. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough, instinctual enough to play with other humans on a big map. I'm getting shot in the back of the head all the time. Which okay, no problem. Old man over here, but it's a popular game. But if Bryce is if Bryce says this is my value, $9,000 for an Instagram post. Who are we to say he's not? Who are we to say it's not? And of course, Bryce was an exception to the rule, an extreme on one end. But I don't have a good example for a current player. Okay. What about our right tackle right now? What's he worth? What's the right tackle worth doing commercials for Taco Casa? Now, there is a you could argue that he's not getting paid by Taco Casa because it's his family's company, because it's his parents' company, right? But there's also an argument that what if they're just funneling money to their son through the Taco Casa ad? Like, and I'm not suggesting that this is nefarious, but like you've got both ways of this. Like, what's Wilkin really worth to doing I get the Fantastic Four? And like, good on you. It's a good commercial. It's a well put together commercial, and we love local businesses right here. Absolutely, go get that sweet tea. Free ad for you, Taco Casa. But like, what's he really worth? I don't know. It's just going to become will NIL go? Will Deloitte be looking at Taco Casa's finances, be looking at, hey, you're bringing in X revenue, you're paying Y money out to right tackle. Oh, it's also your son? Like, is that going to create some sort of red flag? You can't be doing that. It's their son. It's their company. Yeah. They should be able to say, you know what? We love you. You made all A's. You're starting on the team. You're a great representation of the brand. Here's this chunk of money that we had for you because we're proud of you and you've earned it. Like, they should be able to determine that. They should be able to decide between themselves whether it's zero because, hey, Wilkin, we just need your face, and or it's pick any large number. I don't want to throw out a large number because this is a real local business, right? But like anywhere in between there is up to the Formby family and the Taco Casa ownership and their accountants and their business people. If you've got to say, oh, well, you're actually a local fast food chain, which they would hate that. They're a little more than fast food, right? You're a local restaurant chain. So yeah, we don't think this commercial is worth $750. This $600 limit is a little bit restrictive, a lot of bit restrictive to me, because I'm just going to assume this is a total make a butt out of me, right? I'm going to assume that that commercial, whether it's their son or not, is worth at least $1,500, like probably more. He's going on set. He's got his haircut. He's wearing a nice polo. He knows his lines. He delivers them cleanly. It looks good. That's worth more than $600.
I'd agree.
But how do we decide how this family can choose to spend their money? I think it's absolute hooey.
Mm-hmm. And continuing on that note, like, this is how many people are going to have to be working for this committee, and how much information is going to be required.
Right. Are you going to ask for Taco Casa's tax information, and we got to find, how much money you're really bringing in? Oh, how much money did you spend on, Marty Lyons is in one of those commercials, former Alabama player. How much did you give to Marty Lyons? Like, it's insane to me.
Look, you have 130-ish, I forget the exact number, like 134 FBS schools. You have another between like the Big East and the A10 and like
it's like 300 something basketball schools.
Yeah, and we can leave off like the lower end, like the Iona level,
But just take it to 250.
Let's ballpark it to 250. Yeah. That is a lot of schools with a lot of athletes who are like, how Woj is working with St. Bonaventure basketball, doing all the NIL stuff. And he's talked a bit like those guys are all pulling in deals over $600 easily. Like you're going to analyze the fourth guy off the bench at a middle of the pack Atlantic 10 school in upstate New York. You have to determine how much that guy is worth. Like,
so to me, this whole thing is we've been crying about the lawyers making all the money and the billable hours, and like, to me, this is just a continuance of trying to get more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, yes, it is probably a half step in the positive direction. It probably is, but it's not enough. It's meager, and 600. Who decided $600? 600 was the threshold?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Because is that to protect the small school that's paying here's $600 for this ad read? Because when I was working with the radio station 109, we had a couple. Oh, we're going to bring this athlete in. They're going to read Billy's car station, whatever it is, and they were getting paid fine, but it was more than $600. And it's like you're essentially going to push a lot of this back onto the table. And that to me, is that the goal? Is it do you just want to recreate the illusion of amateurism? Oh, they're not getting paid unless it's approved, unless it's a real deal. And so I think back to your softball player. Texas Tech softball player gets $1 million. And okay, we can be honest, very much in the pay for place and category of NIL, because what was she? Does she have any sort of branding deals? Theo, Google her and see if she's connected to any sort of brands with Texas Tech. But we remember the Texas Tech boosters and the Matador Club are up on the money, and they're trying to give it out to the colleges. But think about what she just did for the softball program at Texas Tech. $1 million. Is it worth it? I went back and forth with some commenters this past weekend about it. Oh, well, that seems like they wasted that $1 million. No, they didn't waste that $1 million. They won the school's first Big 12 title in regular season. They won the school's first Big 12 conference title. They made the Women's College World Series for the first time ever. They got back to the postseason for the first time since 2019. So they ended a 6-year postseason drought. I guess 5, you take out COVID-19. A 5-year postseason drought. You go to the College World Series for the first time. You go all the way to the championship series, and your lady is pitching her daggum arm off. And so Was the $1 million worth it? To me, undoubtedly, yes, because the Texas Tech coaching staff can go into any living room now and say, we made the College World Series. And you can say, oh, well, it's just because you have an elite pitcher. And you say, well, do you want to be the next elite pitcher? The recruiting profile has been raised at Texas Tech, period. Whether they want it all or not, you've got 2 conference championship rings on those young ladies' fingers, and you've got a lifelong memory for that team. You have lifelong memory for the fans of that team, for the boosters of that program. You think about how many Texas Tech powers that be were at the Women's College World Series at Oklahoma City and experiencing the pageantry and experiencing the just the rah-rah in the moment. Obviously it didn't go well. It didn't go the way they exactly wanted to, but they spent the entire week in Oklahoma City, battling with college softball's best, and they're going to be infected with that fever. They're going to continue to invest in that program. Yes, the $1 million was worth it, but if you put that through the NIL Go Deloitte scrutiny, and she's not doing car commercials for name your dealership in Lubbock, car commercials. Oh, we're gonna do car commercials. We're gonna do restaurant commercials. We're gonna do every other. We gotta do what? How many industries does she have to hit to get to $1 million?
Probably a lot.
Right? Just pick your number. No, she's probably not giving companies that $1 million back, in value back. But what did she do for the school and the program? It's absolutely worth $1 million.
Now I have 2 quick hitters for you that I want to throw at you, and you can answer them however you want. First of all, when you look at this, and when you look at this Texas Tech deal, this school has $20.5 million, right?
Yes.
They're paying $1 million to a player in a sport where most schools are not going to come close to paying out $1 million total for this sport, right? And then that ignores anything like volleyball or track or any of the other, lesser money sports. With this setup, when you're capped, when you have a set cap, right? I don't see, this is clearly going to hurt Texas Tech and other sports because now you have less money. Like now schools have to make the conscious decision, like, wait, maybe we just need to push everything into football.
Yep. That was the first part of this discussion. Keep going.
Yeah, that is a very, very big concern to me. And I almost think it should have been.
How good do you think Villanova can be in basketball with no football program to even think about?
Oh, yeah. But then, that's kind of an interesting example because there's a school where I think the big one is UConn.
Perfect. Same thing.
I think UConn's a huge one because, football just had a very solid year. But it's going to pull in more money than basketball.
Dan Hurley's going into that athletic office saying 80%.
Right.
80% of this pot.
And with the success, you'd think they'd just do it. Now, is Florida going to be willing to pay Boogie Fland $3 million to come there if they know, wait, we have to keep DJ Lagway next year? Those schools, like a Florida or, Alabama, Texas, any of the Texas schools where you have a lot of sports that you are very competitive at.
Mm-hmm.
Is Alabama willing to give Justin LeBron enough money to stay if they know, okay, we have to, field a top 5 football team, and we're trying to get back to the Final Four in basketball, and we have a bunch of talented softball players that we want to keep, and we have all our, there's a little bit of money being thrown to all our track All-Americans. That's a lot to me. The one other quick thing that kind of ties in. So the schools get $20.5 million, right?
They're allowed, the way that I read this, the revenue that you're making from TV deals, that's where the 20 million kind of comes into play, right?
So when we see Diego Pavia in a Fansville commercial in October, that's not through Vanderbilt at all. So that's not part of it.
Correct.
But that money still has to be approved by this committee.
Correct.
Okay.
The Dr. Pepper, he's going to take, Dr. Pepper wanted me. They paid me X and Y. I spent 3 days in whatever video shoot, and And so Deloitte will have to determine if that money matches up the value of, Dr. Pepper's company and what Diego Pavia's worth and what what the value of a player even participating in a commercial. Is he worth that much? Like all just
Now, did you see Mark Sears with TurboTax this March?
Okay.
Right? He had those deals. It's with a national brand. And yeah, he had some appearances on national TV. But those ads, especially the social media stuff, was promoted, pushed heavily towards Tuscaloosa, towards the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
So I
Probably
wonder,
geolocations or whatever.
A lot of those deals that athletes sign are like that, where you're gonna sign with a national company, like I think DoorDash, like Uber Eats, like one of those two is another big one that does it a lot. Like that's one where you're probably gaming the system, where it's like, okay, no, you sign me as a national, and then they can just, because Mark Sears signing that deal that gets him seen everywhere in Alabama, that's clearly a direct result of him, being a Crimson Tide athlete.
Yeah, of course.
So that's another way where, okay, there's a workaround for a lot of the stuff. I'm seeing a lot of holes in this system, and I don't want to try to pick their thing apart, but this is what everyone's going to try to do. That's what every company, every school, every athlete's going to try to do.
Right. So one big quote from this. Let's see. This is director of athletics from Kansas. Responded to the athletic article that I kind of just picked out of. He said, "I never read a more dramatic anonymous source quote than those used in these type of articles by coaches, player personnel, and administrators. Quote: the sky is falling. Schools are going to spend $1 billion on rosters. Can't stop collectives from throwing money above the cap. We don't stand a chance. Throw in the towel." So he's basically saying the settlement is strong. He summarizes. The settlement is strong. The plan is solid. Hope we can do our part to give it its best chance. Kansas is excited and optimistic about the future of college athletics. Rock chalk. And our man Greg Byrne goes and affirms this, quotes it. "Attaboy Travis, couldn't agree with you more. Seems like a lot of folks want to be the expert that says this won't work." So I'm not the expert. I'll just say that. I'm just fearful of how this can be, how this plays out. Really, but as we said, I think this is a decent one step. This is a decent step in the right direction. You're gonna have more changes with this, but my biggest concern is the deals going back under the table.
Wow.
That's my biggest concern, and my second biggest concern is the deals being litigated and arbitrated to death. Essentially, my deal $601. I think you're right. I'm gonna do one ad read. I'm gonna sign individual contracts, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign individual contracts. Every read is $5.99. Every read is $5.99. I'm gonna do 5 ad reads, and so that's basically $3K, right? A little shy of $3K, but we're gonna sign it in 5 separate deals so that it doesn't have to go to the Deloitte clearinghouse. And yeah, I've read 5 different versions of "come see us at Jimmy's car shop," blah, 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 come see us at Jimmy's auto, blah, 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 and that's the way you're gonna work around it.
I would love for this to work out, Joe,
I do too,
but I think it would be kind of crazy to have any faith in the NCAA at this point. I think, we're very much within our rights to be very skeptical of anything that, is running through the NCAA. I think we've seen, when you see something fail time and time and time again, I'm not just going to put blind faith into it, and I'm going to try to pick it apart and look for flaws, and everyone's kind of come to the same conclusion on this.
It may be nefarious of me, but I'm thinking as if I were a coach or an administrator or a big money booster. My first thought was, man, I can poke right through this. I can, and maybe that's not the way to think about this, but
those guys are thinking these exact things.
It's a competitive entity.
Yeah.
Their livelihood is on the line. I want the wins and losses keep me employed or not employed.
I don't think we've said a single thing today that hasn't crossed through Courtney Morgan's mind already.
I hope not.
right? Like I wouldn't expect it. You know?
You got to be rallying the Tuscaloosa businesses and Alabama businesses to get real NIL deals for these players. I know Ryan Williams is on those T-Mobile ads, T-Mobile billboards, I believe. So that one works for him, national big-time brand, whatever he's getting paid from them. But I'm sure scrutiny. And then he gets to say, well, I'm a top 5 most popular player in college football right now. So, of course, the numbers line up. But then they got to determine, is T-Mobile getting their money's worth from Ryan Williams? Is that really true market value NIL? It takes me back to your original point. The market, you are worth what people decide to pay you. And if someone is silly and decides to pay this podcast $5 million, then we're worth that. It is what it is.
And how do you account for the fact that some guys are fan favorites? Not every starting offensive lineman, some
what do you
of them,
think Jalen Mbakwe is making this year?
Right, more than most people.
More than most 4th string, 5th string wide receivers.
Yeah, I'd imagine more than almost all. Right? I mean, you remember the fact Ole Miss was willing to throw him 7 figures. It seems like they're trying to find an automated solution for a very human issue.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think Alabama's going to use this $20.5 million? Because that's going to be okay, NIL aside, you've got $20.5 million to decide how you distribute it through your athletic department. And what do you have? 19 sports on campus, I think is what it is. 19 athletic scholarship sports on campus. And obviously, we all know the big 2, football 1, and take a big gap, men's basketball 2. Sorry, men's basketball, I love you, but there is a big gap there. Let's just be honest. How do you determine? Do you think? Surely not. But do you think that there's just a small committee in the Alabama athletics department going through the entire roster of all these rosters and saying, okay, $2,000 here, $5,000 there, $10,000 there, $20,000 there. Oh, here's quarterback Ty Simpson, $50,000. Do you think that that's how we're doing this, or do you think that we are, here you go, coach, here's your X million for your roster. Here you go, coach, here's your X million for your roster. And Nate Oates and Kalen DeBoer get to not fight. I don't want to paint that picture, but discuss and debate. Hey, you give him X percentage points. We need those percentage points. We need this percentage of that pot. Or do they go after the smaller programs, the volleyballs, the track and fields, the women's basketballs? Do we just go eat their pie and say, sorry, we're hungrier than you? What? How does
Alabama?
This seems like a bad recipe for athletic departments.
Alabama may never win a volleyball game again. I'm serious.
Well, when was the last time? I'm sorry.
We haven't done a lot of winning in the Rashida Reed era.
Well, take it further back than that.
Like those really smaller sports, those non-money sports, at a school like Alabama that excels at a lot of things, I just don't see how Rashinda Reed's getting any money or how Wes Hart's going to have any money to build his roster.
And soccer's been good for the last 3 or 4 years.
Soccer's an ascending program. And the only, if you're a school up north, right, where maybe you're better at soccer and you don't really have much to speak of in the way of baseball and softball like we do down here. Okay, there's a place where you can keep that alive. I don't think Texas volleyball is going to go anywhere. I'm sure they'll be able to keep money together because, they win at a great clip. I just think that this is going to lead to, I don't think we'll have a lot of everything schools anymore because I just don't see how you can make that commitment to keep. And then,
let's bring your point home.
Yeah.
Have you looked at Will Miller's latest piece on baseball, under baseball from BamaCentral?
I've not gotten to read that.
That's fine. You don't have to. Here's the bullet points. He writes about Alabama's newest transferee, Justin Osterhaus. Going to be a position player, infielder, kind of utility guy, can play a lot of positions. Why is he in the portal? Well, he's good, but why is he really in the portal? He played at Purdue Fort Wayne, which in the very first paragraph, entering his junior year, he comes from Purdue Fort Wayne, which will not have a baseball program going forward.
Yeah.
Purdue Fort Wayne says, sorry, baseball, sorry, softball, these programs are cut.
Mm-hmm.
That's what ends up happening here.
Yeah.
And so, oh my mercy.
I think
think about your favorite non-revenue sport here in Tuscaloosa. Is it too crazy to say that sport is in danger?
Mm-hmm. I love the Alabama soccer team. I think it is a lot of fun. I think those games are fun. I think the fact that there's a bit of a soccer culture when you go to those games is awesome. You know, how is that program going to continue to thrive at all?
Purdue Fort Wayne unveiled plans for multi-million-dollar budget cuts on May 22, leading to the school's baseball and softball programs being axed the following day. Now, Osterhaus he batted .328 and had 16 home runs and 46 RBIs. So my man's was a quality player.
Real quick, because I think the audience needs to hear this. Are you familiar with his stat line in one single game?
No, go for it.
Okay. He had a game. I'm not kidding. 4 home runs, including 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, including a walk-off grand slam, and he was also the game's winning pitcher. That's the guy we're getting.
So I mean, was probably going to go in the portal anyways, and looking for a deal, but you lost your baseball. You're homeless. You're a homeless man. You no program at Purdue Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
That's the future of college athletics with this $20.5 million. Now, is that probably better than asking Billy Fan to keep funding these players? Yeah, I think it is. It's probably better than asking Jimmy from Gordo to keep dumping money into Yale, Alabama because do you want to win? I think that's just an area that's an area that makes me really icky. Asking Jimmy from Gordo to keep you afloat because you are and you have been a big high level entity. Alabama athletics, any athletics program, but we're talking about Alabama, is a high level multi-million-dollar money entity. Now I know. Look, I read the financial reports. I know Alabama revenue lost money last year, and a lot of that is coaching contracts, paying out for Saban, and bringing in DeBoer and all that. But you lost money, and many years you lose money based off all football funding, everything else. So look, I think there will be cuts, and I think that's sad and a hard thing to look at. So. This thing is so complicated.
I think, Joe, you could probably spend every show this week just talking about this and still have areas that you haven't hit. Because there's just so much to go into. And there are so many angles and perspectives that you could take to look at it. And I'll tell you what, being a writer right now, we're going to have so much to cover across all sports. It's going to play into so many things that we do.
I'm very curious to see how. I mean, I think Greg Byrne is one of the best in the business. I absolutely do think you are, sir. I know you listen and you watch every day. I think you are one of the best in the business, but I do not envy what you are walking into with balancing this $20.5 million and trying to keep everybody happy and trying to keep all these programs. I mean, most of the programs on campus are competing at a very, very, very high level. I know that you got fan bases that can complain in their own ways, but most of these programs are on the up and up and up. Theo, you've got to go, and so we need to wrap right here. We do have a voicemail in the tank. I'm going to save it for tomorrow. It's on Tight End. So, Dax, appreciate your call over the weekend. Thank you for your service. I know you were drilling over the weekend, National Guard stuff, and you were really serving our country. So I appreciate you doing that. Your voicemail is not being skipped. It's just we're going to move it to tomorrow with Mason on Alabama Tight Ends. I know you talked about that. We will continue to talk about this Anything you want to say before you get out of here about the Thunder, about this, about anything on your mind? We'll let you have the final word, and we will try to stay dry on a Monday.
Well, Thunder up. I think, the series will be just about over by the time we're speaking next week. Very excited to read perspectives about this NIL thing, and the staying dry isn't going to happen. Have you seen the forecast? It's raining every day this week.
It's raining, hallelujah.
And
singing in the rain.
I was not ready for this. I was told it would be rainy and hot. I was not ready for just how crazy it is. So I'm getting the full summer.
Yeah,
I
would say that the rain seems a little more extreme than I'm even used to, right, Theo?
Really?
So we'll say that. But the heat's right on par.
And I'm told it's only to get worse.
Leave us a voicemail if you disagree with what we're talking about today, especially if you disagree. But 205-462-7340, extension 800. We'll be back with Mason Woods tomorrow to talk about this. You can leave us a comment at Theo Fernandez, _ at Joe Gaither 6, at BamaCentral. Subscribe, rate, review the program on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.